First of all, we would like to thank you for receiving us today. When Maxwell passed away, you took a number of measures. We as a family who have felt it, who have received it, are here today to tell you exactly how we feel of what you've done for us and to thank you. Let me say that if we could put weight on words, today you would have needed a crane to lift our thank you, because we are very grateful. You paid a visit to the family at the family house, and the entourage that followed you indicated to us as a family that this is a matter that you haven't taken lightly. And when you came, you made a number of pronouncements, the first of which you said you were promoting then Captain Maxwell Mahama to the rank of Major based upon recommendations from the CDS, and the fact that you have the power to do so, and indeed you promoted him posthumously to the rank of Major. As a family, we are grateful for this, and we say thank you. The next thing you told us that Maxwell should be given a full state burial. And I remember you did say, you may not be with us physically, but you will be with us in spirit, and that you have made all the necessary measures and given the necessary directives for what you have said to be carried out to the letter. And indeed, that was what happened. You did say that day was that you were setting up an endowment fund to take care of Maxwell's widow and the children. And that day, on your own, you did donate 50,000 to start. As a family, we are grateful, and we thank you personally for this, and we thank you for setting up the endowment fund. As we speak today, all the processes have taken place and the fund has been launched. We wanted a monument to be erected at the appropriate place in memory of Maxwell Mahama. Just last week, the Minister of Defense cut the sword for the commencement of work on the monument. We would like to take this opportunity to make a comment that if Maxwell's death will cause a review of some processes of our criminal system, we will appreciate it, because we thought that those who saw the videos of Maxwell's murder and the initial arrest made by the police gave the number about 50. However, the legal system the investigators followed and the processes leading to court left us with only 14 people. We may be sentimental here, but the law is the law. Our sentiments are also our sentiments. We would have wished that all those people should go before the judge and explain their presence at the scene. For those who urge the killers on we see them as guilty as the killers. Unfortunately, the law doesn't work that way. And we think that probably it's time to look at it, because now technology has made certain things possible. And we believe that our criminal system should benefit from that. We sit here as a family, not that we are relieved of Maxwell's death, but we are relieved. We are happy that the way and manner you handled it is what has pulled us through this 1 year. On behalf of the family, Maxwell's father, Maxwell's mother, Maxwell's widow, and the rest of the family, we say a big thank you, Mr. President, for all that you did for us. We are grateful. Thank you elephantly.
Chief of Defense Staff, and the father, and the mother, widow, relatives of Major Mahama. Let me first of all welcome you to the seat of the presidency of our country, Jubilee House, and to say something which is obvious, or to wish we had met in different circumstances. But then that is the will of God, that we should meet in these circumstances. When the deed occurred, I think all of you and your family would attest to the revulsion that engulfed the entire nation and the manner of his death. The Ghanaian people, almost to a man, to a woman, indicated that this was not their idea of how our society should be. And as a result of the grief that gripped the entire nation, all kinds of things were done to express to you our deep condolences and sympathies, as well as our solidarity in a very difficult moment in your lives, individually, as a family, as well as in the life of our nation. All that was done, which you have enumerated, were done because the Ghanaian people, on whose behalf and in whose name I act, wanted to express to you their solidarity. Well, on a very personal level, of course, I'm grateful for the thanks, but I think that at the end of the day, the thanks that you have to go to the people of Ghana. I was a vehicle for expressing their regret, their sadness, their revulsion, their grief. In many cases, many times in our country, when things are going to be done, there are always unnecessary delays of one sort or another. Happily, that has not been the case this time. The various steps that were outlined that should be taken to send him off with as much dignity as our nation can muster, giving him a state funeral, and making special accommodations for his widow. I believe that today she is a member of the Foreign Service of our country. And then the other arrangements, culminating in the endowment fund. It's usually quite a difficult exercise signing checks. Well, this is one occasion where I signed the check for the 50,000 CDs with a great deal of satisfaction. We have all learned a lot of lessons from what has happened, especially also the armed forces. And I'm hoping that those lessons will guide us to do things better. The call you have made for the review of the criminal law, to me, is totally legitimate. That is the way in which we get progress in a nation. Events occur, and we look at the responses of the society, the institutions of the state, to determine whether they're adequate in dealing with the particular problem that had not been anticipated, that perhaps is coming up for the first time. And then when you look at those institutions and you look at the methods and processes, and you're satisfied that they can be improved, you've spoken about the aid of technology, which may not have been present at the time the criminal code was written. It's present today, that it will make sense for the review of the criminal law to take into account these developments in the evolution of our country and society. So I back 100% the call you have made for a review of the criminal law. And those who are responsible for that exercise will hear from today not only your call, but my support for your call, and hopefully it will begin the process of a national dialogue which will result in the intervention of the Parliament and make the necessary adjustments to our criminal code. But I think it is important that all of us recognize that sometimes it takes tragic events like this for us to be able to arrive at a better way of handling matters. So the call you have made for a review of the criminal law is a very legitimate one. I don't think you're out of court at all. I think you're very much within grounds for having done so. All of these, the recognition, the support of the state, the various arrangements, they can never take away from the loss, which is felt by some people in this room with greater poignancy than with others. I see the beautiful young girl, the widow. I see the mother, and I see the father, and the aunts, and the brother, uncles. And I know that your sense of loss is very acute, and it's going to take a long time for it to find its proper place in your soul. But this is the lot of man. We're faced with unexpected moments, with these moments of difficulty, of loss, and our comfort has always been the Almighty, our Redeemer. What is difficult to believe has not abandoned us, but I am confident that He never abandons us. So that has to be my closing words to you, that you have to continue to seek solace in the solidarity and not just of the Ghanaian people, but in the design of the Almighty. He knows best why these moments of trial and tribulation are brought onto our paths. And we have to continue to hold on to our faith to be able to survive such moments. So that is my commendation to you. The handsome young man that you married, it's a pity. But you have responsibilities. You have the children, and you have your own life. So you have to continue to persevere. It's difficult for a mother. After a certain time, you can't have any more children and replace them. So to see a young boy brought from infancy, grew up into a fine young man, a soldier, to be taken away in this manner. These are heavy, heavy burdens that a mother and a father have to bear. But there it is. And I have no doubt that with the little that I've been told about the young man, he would want you to hold your head up high and bear it with grace and dignity, knowing always that you can count on many people. People do not have to be members of your family or your blood to be your brothers and sisters. And here you have many, many brothers and sisters in Ghana, beginning with Mr. President, to be able to comfort you these difficult times that you're going through. I would have wished, as I said at the beginning, that we had met in better times, but there it is. We have to be together in this event. I'm sorry about it. But I'm grateful for your presence here and for your coming to express your gratitude for the little that I and the Ghanaian state and nation have been able to do for you in this moment of loss. God bless us all and keep us together. Thank you for coming.